world unite. It's time to war, to fight the fight against the puppet masters pulling strings. We'll strip away the power, hear our piercing screams. Yeah, we won't be silenced anymore. We break free from the chains that they adore. Stand tall, unrigging the game, we rise. The devil bring reality from their lies. Unrig the game, unleash the fury.
Say his name and he appears.
This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Unrig the Game. How's everybody doing out there this evening? Hope you're all doing and living well. First, let's thank all those YouTube members. Start scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated, and it has helped extremely. It helps a lot. So thank you guys so much. A special thanks to Shelly and Wolfram, who also supports over on Rumble as paid subscribers over there. And of course, we are broadcasting live on Rumble, X, and YouTube as always. And in case you was wondering, this one. This is the kickoff show coming up tonight. Part 3 of Big Intel by J. Michael Waller, Cold War Defense, Double Dealing, Success, and Malaise. We're going to be reading chapters 14 through 16. It's a very long part of the book. And so we'll be taking it chapter by chapter, a group of chapters at a time, that is. And so I'm looking forward to that. We're now entering into the Cold War era after we get all the background information and lead up to that. And we're going to see a lot of what's been going on in our intel communities, how it has changed over the years from what it was supposed to be and what it was doing to something that is now working against the American people, unfortunately, and what we can do about it. That's what this book's about. That's what Unrig the Game is about. We learn about how the game was rigged and is rigged, and then we come up with solutions and listen to solutions about how to unrig it so that we can have a great country, prosperous, safe, and working in the best interest of its citizens. So I'm so happy each and every one of you are here. Let me say hello to the crowd. Wolfram, thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you for dropping these links. Remember to always listen to the wolf. He knows what he's talking about. And he wipes his paws, lips, and how's he's here. And here is Suzanne, here but not chatting. Mine tonight, folks. I'll drop by into a deep sleep. Okay, cool. Well, thanks you for being here, and thanks for reposting stuff on X. Shelly is in the house. Talking trash and truth. She's our hostess with the mostest, greeting people as they walk in the door with big hugs and lots of love. Shelly, thanks for being here and all you do. All right, we're off and rolling. And let me take a look at there was some chats that came in before I started the show. Heidi was here to remind everybody to smash the like button, ring the bell, and get notifications because as you know, if you don't have the notifications on, you might not know when the show starts. And by the way, tomorrow night is the big show. I've released it publicly now, so it's out there. Everything reroutes to it. The trailers are playing on all of our shows for the most part. And I'm really gearing up to try to get people out tomorrow night to watch Line in the Sand with us. It's going to be phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, you're going to learn much more than you thought you did about the border and more. And you're going to realize why this documentary is a instant red pill and why it should not be hidden in an echo chamber right now. It needs to be out there for people to see, especially people who might not watch it. Think of clever ways to get people to watch this documentary. Have a watch party, go into a Discord and blast it. I don't care about views. I care that people see it wherever they are, however they can see it. It doesn't matter. Get creative. Be an activist for this one right here. We got a few weeks left to the election, and early voting is already going well. But we want to wake people up. We want to make sure they don't make the wrong choice and put their energy and give their consent to the corrupt establishment that they've been brainwashed and sucked in by their establishment narrative, which is just subversion. We want to shake those people awake so that we have a successful run for the next 4 years. We get the assistance that we need, and we get people active to actually stop the problems that are happening and start implementing solutions. Do it for the children. Yes, do it for the children. It really is that important. There is so much in this documentary. You guys are gonna be amazed. And when you're gonna be here, if you haven't seen it, you're gonna be like, wow, winning really, he was hyping this up a lot, but I can see why now. I can see why now. It's gonna be like that. So I wouldn't mislead you guys or waste your time. I promised you on that. This is going to be highly educational, and it's going to arm you to get out there and talk about it in very educated ways and have a resource to kick back to prove your points. Also, I will be putting out a special link at the end of the show tomorrow night to a direct copy of this documentary that'll be off stream. You can either refer them to my stream if you want to have them listen to it with my commentary, or if you need to be sneaky about it, you can just drop a link to the one stream. It's going to be very simply titled, not give much away, and that way that they'll watch it and understand what's going on. And for people that are under the spell of the first veil and the establishment narrative, this will make them realize they've been being lied to. And that's one thing that really shakes people out of their slumber. When they realize they've been made a fool of, right? They get angry, they get ready, they get active, and they red pill real fast. So this is our chance, guys. This is our chance. Hope you guys are out there doing the work, spreading it around. Drop that link everywhere you can. Drop it and drop it and drop it. 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And then I will do I'm gonna do a Wednesday show, a Winning 2024 Wednesday show, since I'm not doing that tomorrow night. It's going to be all about line in the sand. But I will do Wednesday and Thursday. And I also want to announce, and Wednesday will be at a special time, right? Which will be our new time. I'm moving the time for Winning 2024, at least this Wednesday. Hold on. Never mind. I'm not doing a show Wednesday. I forgot. I'm busy. I'll do Thursday and Friday then. So we'll do Thursday and Friday. I'm going to start moving the time up a few hours. So we're going to be, and this is for a good reason, right? I'm going to do that probably for one show. I keep it at a normal time, and then I'm going to move it up for one show. Probably the Friday show, I'll move it up to an evening show. So it'll come out like about 6:15, somewhere around there. And we'll do the normal time frame on that. And this is the reason why. The following Tuesday, all right, I will be having Gary Franchi of Next News Network on. Okay, now we all know about Gary Franchi. I've shown him many times here on the channel. He goes back to the Ron Paul days. You're going to learn a lot from this guy. We're going to have a lot of fun. He's actually broadcasting live right now. I'm going to take a look at it. Yeah, he's got 2.23 million subscribers. Okay, right now there are roughly 1,000 people in his chat watching him. He's shadow banned. He's demonetized because he puts out the truth. He's not a grifter. He's an old school Ron Paul guy, and he's been running this organization for a decade. Based guy, and we're gonna have some great conversations about the past, the present, and the future. That's the way I'm framing it. I'm putting it all together. So Gary's show kicks off nightly around 9:15 to 9:20. And what I want to do now, since hopefully a lot of his viewers will be coming over and watching with us, is I want to be able to redirect my show to his after we complete. So Winning 2024 into the Next News Network nightly show will be the new format, and that will hopefully help us reach some new people, and also just give people a full course. I'll be going over certain things that he won't be going over. And I'll also be doing analysis on his videos from the night before. Often I do that because he does a lot of good stuff in terms of rig watch and the border crisis and other things he puts out. I like to do the secondhand analysis on that and add to it, as I've often done. You guys have seen me do that many times. So that's what we're going to be doing with that. That's why I'm moving this show, Winning 2024. That is, I'm moving that show into the evening hours. So that's how we're going to do it. I think it's going to work out great, and it'll be something new. And it's all about just getting the message out to as many people as possible, and reaching them with the base content, the base takes that everyone needs. So much is out there that's just either full of shit or off base. Even, between the establishment narrative and the second veil alternative narrative, there's a lot of people, as you'll probably find out from Gary when I interview him, that as he says, is wet behind the ears. They're kind of new to the scene. They don't really understand the depths of the research people like him and I have done. If you guys are here and part of what we're doing here, and you have been here for a long time, you realize this by now, that my research goes back decades, and my takes have been finely crafted. They've been vetted and revetted and re-looked at. That's the way we do it here. We don't just like get something off the internet and then believe it. I recently have watched a documentary that I'm really considering showing, and I'll ask you guys if you guys want me to do it. But I think that I might. It's just it was a documentary that was put out in 2021 about really getting into who is the Q guy, who is Q, right? That whole thing. There's so many people that got mixed up in it, what it led to. It's the take on it is, I think the investigation part of it's really good in terms of getting to the people behind 4 and 8chan and who those people were and who had access. And I think at the end of it, he pretty much figures out who at least the new Q was, right? The 8chan version of Q was. The 4chan version I put out in Antisocial Network is a short on that one that said, basically, well, I could probably show it, that basically said, it was a group of people on 4chan. And I think that this guy who was on 8chan was probably part of that group. But he pretty much on the very last episode, kind of after years of kind of like playing cat and mouse with the investigator, kind of slipped up and kind of let you know who it was. So I think there's no doubt that it was some people that were not who they said they were, or Q is not what he planned to be, that were just running their own little troll ops on the whole thing. And I don't know that it was all necessarily that, but they were trying to they felt like they had a lot of power. And that's what I got out of this documentary, is that these people behind it were pretty much just drunk on the power of it, and they liked to mess with people, and they like to control people. You'll see what I mean when we watch it. I'm seriously considering playing it. It's 5 hour. It's a 5-hour research piece that's broken into 5 episodes. I think it's 5, but it's pretty good. Some of the takes on it, I think we're and when it comes to politics, I think we're short-sighted, or kind of like within the own investigator's mind. But I think the research into the individuals that were behind 4 and 8chan, were behind 8chan at least, and his personal relationships with them and interviews with them that he did over a course of a long period of time, pieced it all together like really nicely. So I like that part of it. I think some of his takes about the influence it had on people like Trump and others were his own opinions, and I don't necessarily agree with those. So I would have pushback on those episodes. But but as far as who it was and who was behind it and where the money was coming from and things that seriously indicate who these people were, and then all the swerves that were out there too, like one of the swerves were like Steve Bannon, like how they swerved people to believe that it was Steve Bannon when it wasn't. That comes out in that documentary as well. It's pretty damn good. So I'm thinking about showing that. But anyways, I want to start off the evening by it's all more on that. If you guys are interested in that topic, I can go down that rabbit hole. It's no problem at all here. I enjoy the unveiling of those things. And I'm sure a lot of people still don't know. And there's still, I've run into people in other chats and stuff that still believe in that shit. So it's like, a little bit of responsibility from the guy who exposed the original Q, Drake Kent Bailey, and my group, exposing the guy with the original plan and the original a lot of stuff that came out through Q's mouth was shit that Drake Kent Bailey said a decade before. So obviously some of the people that were involved in it were part of that Drake Kent Bailey militia / military coup, or not coup, but parallel government thing that was supposed to be going on, where they were going to this is during the Obama days, right? They were going to make sure that the cartels and the deep state and all that stuff were taken care of, and they supposedly had people all aligned, and he was the messenger, right? And we were supposed to watch for red light, green light, yellow light, and it was all just people standing by and just for him to get attention. And eventually, he ends up after we were exposing him, but then he also other people were involved, like Project Camelot, some leftist organizations that were like part of the UFO grift. Then it became very apparent that this guy was not who he said he was. He wasn't a militia leader. He wasn't anything like that, even though he did have a very well-known militia leader on, because he attracted him through the popularity of his grift, his original Q grift, because he didn't call it that, but he called it something different. But all of the rhetoric, a lot of the rhetoric that was borrowed and put into the Q posts were a lot of it came from Drake originally. And I did a full stream on that, actually very popular stream that still gets a lot of views, about Drake Kent Bailey, the original QAnon. Go look it up. It's there. A lot of people have seen that. I wish I'd done a slightly better job on that, but I think I did pretty damn good at showing the history of that, how we exposed it, how we were inside his groups, watching out for the Ron Paul patriots that were getting sucked into it with his grift, and pulling them out and making sure that they were not discrediting themselves by falling for this bullshit. But he was very convincing, a very good storyteller, and he would get people to sit there and listen to him for hours, roll on and on about this plan. It was very exciting. But towards the end of it, when things weren't going right, and then it was like, the aliens got involved, UFOs got involved, and people started going, okay, you got me, right? But the guy literally broke one of the early webcasting, audio casting, Blog Talk Radio. He literally broke Blog Talk Radio because they had so many people on there listening to him that their servers couldn't handle it. So anyways, I wanted to start this evening out because I like to get ahead of things, right? And we got some time here. This is the kickoff show. We will be reading here at the top of the hour. We're listening to J. Michael Waller's Big Intel, chapters 14 through 16 of part 3. But before we start, and let me make sure this is at winning speed, I wanted to do a little weather forecasting. I got some stuff after this too as well. But just to let you guys know, I thought this was interesting. There's going to be weather forecasting for the election, for the run up to it, for early voting, but there's going to be some interesting weather coming up here, and I want you to see how a real weathercaster kind of forecast what's going on. So I'm going to bring up this guy here, Ryan Hall, y'all, and just it'll affect everybody here because this is going to be your weather, and basically we'll listen to this. So this will be something fun and different.
Got some big time weather pattern changes about to happen. So why not make a video? We're going to start off talking about Tropical Storm Oscar over here, which is messing with Cuba right now. Power outages across the entire
country. You get to
country.
see like the kind of things that a real meteorologist uses to forecast weather. And this guy's really spot on.
Cuba. It's going to head off to the north and to the east. It's going to.
Okay. So first things first, if there's a tropical storm hurricane here, and there's why aren't they just pushing it right up into Florida again, right? That's the first thing you see, but it's because the weather dictates it, not humans.
Problems in the Bahamas as well. Over the last week, we had Nadine kind of come and go.
They're spinning it up
somewhere over Mexico right now. Oscar was a little bit of a surprise. It went from just an area of potential development to a Category 1 hurricane. Made landfall the other day in Cuba at 80 miles per hour, and now it is going to skedaddle out of here.
So it's going to get on out of here.
It is going to cause some crazy rainfall.
So don't worry, we won't hear much about this one.
In Cuba and the Bahamas, we're talking about flash flooding and ongoing mudslides and more power outages, very likely, as the storm is what's going to get it out of here. Watch it go. I think this is going to be something to worry about by the time it gets close to Bermuda. It's going to be faded into another system and just kind of blended in. This is going to be gone from most of our memories, hopefully, by the time we get towards the end of the week. So let's take a look at the upper air analysis and talk about the future. There's Oscar right there. Notice this little dip. That's what's going to get it out of here. Watch it go down there, pick up Oscar, and then take it out to sea. It's going to obliterate that storm. It's not going to be a worry for any of us after that. But also look at this, a much larger system over here in the central U.S. going to kind of steal the show. In fact, today, this little divot in the jet stream here, this little low pressure system is going to cause some severe weather in the central U.S. Slight chance of severe weather today in Kansas. It's going to be mostly for some large hail and some damaging winds. An isolated tornado or two can't be ruled out. But also we've got some chances for some heavy rain here as well. This is the same system that just the other day caused significant flash flooding in New Mexico. Okay, so rain's on the way. And actually, I hope you get it. And we're about to get super in depth on that. Okay, we're about to provide a lot of value for you in this video. But before we do that, speaking of value, we have to shout out today's sponsor, Rocket Money, where you can take full control and cancel subscription and take control of your finances.
Has anybody ever tried one of these apps that keeps track of all your microtransactions? And and it helps you, like, unsubscribe from things you forgot you subscribed to. I'd like to try one of these one time. I don't know. I know there's probably a ton of shit that I've forgotten about.
Nobody wants to deal with the flash flooding, but if you don't receive rain in Nebraska, Kansas, Texas, or Oklahoma today, it's probably going to be your last chance to see any rainfall for quite some time. Definitely a week before we see another chance of rain here, because as that system kind of moves off to the north and east, it is going to allow for another cold front to come down, another pulse of cooler air to move into the north central U.S. and eventually into the eastern U.S., but it's not going to carry any sort of precipitation with it. The remnants from this little system is going to be all we've got as we go into the future. You can see that little cold front coming down here as we go into Wednesday. On the front side of that, there's going to be a couple rain showers maybe, but no major precipitation, and certainly no precipitation back here towards the central U.S. as another ridge is forming. A big ridge is going to form as we go towards the end of October. It's going to lead to a lot of dry weather and a lot of very warm weather. Of course, around the same time up here in the Pacific Northwest, it's the opposite problem. We've got a little bit of an atmospheric river situation trying to happen here, where we're going to see consistent showers and heavy snow showers in the higher elevations over here in Oregon and Washington. This might actually lead to some problems with flooding, as we're probably going to get a fire hose situation with a lot of Pacific moisture over the next little bit.
This is really interesting
story here as we go towards the end of this week is, for the most part, everybody's going to be quiet. All right. You see how all of these jet stream lines are mostly uniform, moving west to east across the country. This is a sign of no major storm systems. This is a zonal flow. Okay. And that means that things are going to get quite quiet. Now, at the same time, the farther we go into the future, there is going to be a little bit of a buckling here. Okay. And that's going to allow for a huge ridge to form in the west. Like, this is going to start early this week, but as we go deeper into October, it's just going to keep on getting more and more intense here. And this ridge and this big bubble right here is going to allow for a heat wave, probably one of the warmest Halloweens on record for millions of people here, as a stagnant area of warm air is going to be set up underneath this thing. And it's going to stick around for quite some time. Now, of course, there are going to be a couple instances where
I noticed that it got cold a little sooner here than it usually does, because usually by Halloween is when the cold hits. So it did do that a little bit differently this year.
Cool air is going to
this is an El Nino year as well. Did you guys remember that? Every 4 years, 3 things happen. Actually, there's probably more than 3 things that happen every 4 years. So I think there was another one that someone threw at me, but one of them is the Olympics, one of them is El Nino, and the other is presidential elections. That's how I remember that.
Make it in from Canada.
Yeah,
in fact, as we get closer to Halloween and the beginning of November, over here in the West, we are going to be consistently below average with our temperatures, and we're going to be talking about a lot more precipitation over here. So it's going to kind of set up this battle zone where in the middle, we're going to be going back and forth between very warm and very cool temperatures, but also this is going to set the stage for what I believe will be a very active November as far as storms go. I think we're going to have a lot of chances for stuff like this come through and cause severe weather in the form of tornadoes, maybe in the south, and then maybe even some.
That's them. That's the deep state trying to put tornadoes on everybody. I'm just telling you this because we're way out in the forecast, right? And these things are supposedly automatic, right? We're way out in the forecast.
Stronger snowstorms on the northwestern side of
these November 5th. This is election day right here, right?
Systems as they rip across the center part of the country. But that's a long ways away. Before we get there, we have to talk about the ridge and the oppressive warmth that's going to be with us through the last half of October. We're already feeling it across a lot of the central and eastern United States. It's not going anywhere. Tomorrow, for example, it's going to be near 90 degrees in Kansas City. All right, with those upper 80s are going to be all the way up there into
climate change.
And it's going to be well into the 90s in Oklahoma. And then we're talking about connects, 75 in New England.
From the storm system
way up here in upstate New York. It's going to feel like August here instead of October. And some of those really warm temperatures go all the way up here.
I'm no meteorologist
as well, so it's going to feel extremely warm. Now, there is a little pulse of cool air that's going to try to make it in here, especially around the Great Lakes
coming down from Canada.
Go towards the latter part of this week.
Us the cool weather
down by that, because that secondary ridge, the big one that I'm talking about, is just now starting to form over here as we go towards Friday and Saturday. And even with this one, there's going to be a couple of pulses of cool air that come in and try to calm things down a little bit. Unfortunately, with most of these pulses, there's not going to be a lot of precipitation associated with them. It's just going to be temperature fluctuations. And then the farther we go into October, the more impressive that ridge becomes. Look at this giant wall of heat here over the central U.S. on Monday, October
pretty nice.
If I push this just a little bit farther into the future, we're getting into kind of la land here. Okay, this is 200 hours away from now, but the signal is so consistent and it's so large we can't ignore it. But if this actually comes to fruition, if we've got temperatures 40 degrees above average here in Minnesota on Tuesday, October 29th, we're talking about 2 a.m. in Minneapolis. It's going to be 80 degrees. That's wild. That's unheard of up here. And
hey, Memento, how's it going, my friend?
Near that as well. And that warm air is going to spread over the eastern U.S. and it's just going to kind of compile. And once again, Halloween night into Friday, November 1st, this could be one of the warmest Halloweens on record for lots of people.
All right,
here,
so remember that when you're picking out your costume,
okay? I want to draw your attention back over here to the west one more time. We're talking about cooler than average temperatures in Idaho and Nevada and Idaho and California over here, and that cool air mass is going to try its best to move east, and it eventually will win. Okay, we're going towards winter, right? This is a
climate's always changing. It's called
a big surge of warm air, and then several pockets of cool air try to infiltrate that. The cool air will win, but the fight that's going to happen as that transition occurs might be pretty intense. That's why I'm saying that I think that November is going to be quite active, especially when it comes to severe weather, as we have all of this cool air.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. He's saying November is going to be active. So maybe they're going to, you never know what some people might come up with, like with some active weather. They might say that they're trying to stop you from taking the oath of office. Like, I don't know, man. I don't put anything past people anymore, man.
Across the Rockies and then interact with all of this warm air that's going
to maybe I'll start it right now.
More warm air that we do have, the more intense that fight
weather in November.
Here's the latest from the Climate Prediction Center. Pretty much exactly what we just talked about. Above average, way above average around the Great Lakes, below average for some people in the West. Precipitation is also pretty much on par with what we're looking at on the models. We're going to be below average in the Appalachians over towards the Mid-Atlantic and New England, a little bit below average in the desert Southwest as well. So no rain really expected anywhere that needs it. Right? We do expect there to be some above average precipitation in the Pacific Northwest, but that's going to be intermittent. And the reason I keep talking about precipitation and wanting rain is because the vast majority of us right now are in a drought. Most of the United States is below where we need to be as far as our rainfall totals go, except for the places that were really devastated by Helene and Milton and some places in the South.
Those lucky, they got all the water
going on right now in Ohio and West Virginia. I don't see an end to that anytime soon. None of these systems.
Maybe they were trying to help them
through our big time rainmakers, and of course, at least from now through Halloween, we're going to be warm and dry. Now, as we get deeper into November and we start to see more storm systems come through, yeah, maybe that might add some relief.
Rainy November, cold November
rain. Intense storms, not necessarily lingering or wet storms. So just keep this in mind. The drought, it looks like it's here to stay. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. There's not a lot going on out there other than this big ridge that's coming in and the implications that might come from that. So we're going to be watching Oscar here very closely. If there's any major changes, we'll let you know. But I really think that I've told you everything there is to know about that storm. We're going to be watching the severe weather today in Kansas. Very, 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 very small chance that becomes anything that we need to go live for, but that's on the table. And then most of our focus here is going to be watching this big pattern change that's coming, and we'll let you know if there's any further developments on that. Hopefully you won't hear from me again for another week. That's always the goal. But if there's ever a reason to update you on something, we're going to do that here. And of course, you can follow me over on X or Twitter for more rapid fire updates. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, because if we do go live, you don't want to miss that notification. As always, we want to thank our sponsor today, Rocket Money. A huge shout out to Rocket Money. Thank you so much for sponsoring. Anytime we get a sponsor, it's a big deal here. So if you want to support the people that support us, there's a link in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Nice. I like
right now, many people who are below the.
So there you have it. Some weather updates, just getting you guys ahead of the curve. So if people start trying to drift off the weather again, whether they be from the left or from the right, you will know what's going on, right? All right. So, and this is where we're at, 27. Hold on. Got to do something. What the fuck? Yep. All right. We're all good. Here we go. Let me show you. In gearing up, we got a quick little segment here, gearing up for tomorrow night. Just to understand better, I guess you guys haven't heard this, maybe you have. Better what we're facing if we don't make sure that we get people to understand the border crisis in depth, right? Because some of those people, I talked to a friend the other day, and I was like, well, what are people around here, what are they thinking about? What do they think about the border crisis? Because I was telling him about this, and I was getting him geared up for it, and he's going to help share it out a little bit. But he's like, they all think it's humanitarian. We're just trying to help people, blah, 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 stuff like that. Like, when you don't understand what the results of this thing, what the results are, you don't get to hear about them. Stuff like this just flies right by your radar.
Let's jump to this story. We got this one from the New York Post. Babyface Trende Aragua crew at New York City migrant shelter targets Times Square, and they're getting away with it. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Trende Aragua's taking over Times Square now. We already heard about that guy with the gun in Times Square. What happened? He got
arrested. These poor kids. These poor kids. They're sending the poor kids out there to Well, figure it out.
Arrested, or he was was he shooting at somebody? What happened with that? Do you guys remember that story?
He shot he shot somebody, and then they jumped the cop and they let those guys out.
Yeah.
And, the same thing. Desk appearance ticket, and the guy split.
Tren de Aragua not taking over Times Square, pistol packing Tren de Aragua members, become a terror in Times Square, targeting New Yorkers and tourists.
Yeah.
There he is. Here's the story. They say a brutal crew of babyface. I'd stop saying that. That's ridiculous. Gangbangers at a city-funded Manhattan shelter are pulling off. They're doing that because they're trying to make an allusion to back in the early 1900s. It's not funny. These are criminals from Venezuela who have come here and are terrorizing Americans under an administration that is doing nothing about it, and the NYPD is doing nothing. And I'm not going to give any leeway to any of the cops either, because they can say, "Oh, we arrest them anyway." Nah, they're not doing anything about it. Nearly 24 young migrant thugs, some as young as 11, are part of a dangerous asylum-seeking brat pack that has graduated from purse snatchings to gunpoint heists, targeting New York.
Well, how are they getting guns? Illegally.
And tourists alike.
They know that's against the law. Aren't they? They're not obeying the laws.
But they're managing to stay out of jail because of their ages and the Empire State's lenient criminal justice laws, Detective Bureau Assistant Chief Jason Savino said. You have individuals that are brazen. We know they have access to guns, evident by the fact that they've done gunpoint robberies, and they've been brazen enough to showcase pistols in and around their social media. This is the first formulated group that we have found where this group, about 20 individuals in pack format, hang out every day, post on social media, boast about their crew. You see little pockets in and around Times Square and in and around the shelters. But as far as a true threshold, it's been limited to shelters. Calling themselves Los Diablos de la 42, Spanish for the Little Devils of 42nd Street.
The Little Devils of 42nd. How cute. What a cute name.
A crew of about 21 gang members has been busted for 50 separate incidents, and yet not one is behind bars. They committed the robberies and all the sexy
I want to be a part of it in old New York.
Places in and around Central Park, in and around Times Square, in and around transit, and targeting tourists. They kind of had a graduation of sorts and a progression where originally it started as snatches and then went to strong-armed robberies and then started brandishing knives in a pack format. This is intentional.
Yeah, they were robbing people in
This is anarcho-tyranny. The government is allowing this to happen to you. New York is allowing this to happen to you. The Harris-Biden administration can stop it. The NYPD knows
they don't need to pass some like weirdo pork-laden bill to do it either. They can stop it. They don't stop it.
Hanging out in packs with weapons, they could stop it. They don't, because they want this to happen to you. That young woman who got jumped and murdered up by Columbia University a few years ago, they know it's happening. They don't care. And I'm not going to give any leeway on any of the beat cops who are part of this and know it's happening and say, well, don't blame me, blame the top brass. Not
just doing my job. That's a theme you're going to hear in tomorrow night in Line in the Sand. Just doing my job, just following orders. The soldiers at Auschwitz, the Nazis at Auschwitz, say they were just following orders too.
Right. Well, you see what happened when the minute Adams gave that whole talk that this is going to destroy New York City, and now he's under indictment and investigation. The minute, they weaponized the Department of Justice against anybody that speaks out on what's happening, with the migrant crisis. And, a slap in the face to me is my brother's a disabled veteran, my older brother. And, the services for the VA in New York, I don't know, I can't speak about anywhere else, but they're cutting back. Like, he had to go to an outside specialist. They're like, nope, we don't.
Okay, yeah, this guy he's a hardcore rocker of some kind. It's been he supports Trump. He's been ostracized, and he's part of something in the park there in New York too. I don't know who he is. I can't remember his name, but I know that he babbles on. It just keeps going on for the rest of this video. The first 3 minutes were the important part, the news breaking part, the part that I wanted to bring to you. And that's what I wanted you to see right there about that right there. So yeah, that's happening. And I got another report on the same gang in a different part of the country tomorrow night for the warm-up to Line in the Sand. I'm saving it for that part, and that's what's going to go on there. And I will again have Thursday night full show, winning 2024, all these topics and more, and a Friday special edition to continue more of these topics. As we get close to the election, we're going to be looking at a lot of the early results. We're going to be looking at a Poll Watch brought to you by Talking Trash and Truth. I have to have a sponsor for that so I can watch my phrasing. What else are you going to call it? What else are you going to call it? I can't think of anything other. If you guys come up with a better name for me, so I'll look at that. I'll look at that. Let's see. How long is this thing? Let's see. No. So we're gonna get into that right now. I want to kind of keep it on the topic of the night. And remember, as Yuri will tell us right now,
these are the areas of application of subversion. What it means exactly: education. Distract them from learning something which is constructive, pragmatic, efficient. Instead of mathematics, physics, foreign languages, chemistry, teach them history of urban warfare, natural food, home economy, your sexuality, anything, as long as it takes you away.
If you want to revive national pride in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive our national identity in this country, vote Trump. If you want to make America great again, vote Trump. That's how we're going to win November, and our best days as a nation are still yet ahead of us. Vote Trump, and that's how we do this. God bless you and your families and our United States. Vote Trump.
That's right. That's what we'll be talking about and more on Winning 2024 coming up this week. I wanted to show you guys this. I talked about I have this in my cool videos collection, but I'm going to show it to you now. It's really cool tech that's coming on. I was talking about how people are going to try to tell you, or, they are telling us that we need migrants. We need these people to come across the border illegally because we need them to fill the jobs. We need to fulfill the jobs that, in my opinion, aren't going to be there in a very short period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's coming on, what we're looking at right now, what's already happening in small doses. We just don't, I don't know how many people are on top of this or not many. What's happening in small doses, and it's going to ramp up like ChatGPT ramped up a year ago or so. How fast AI just hit the mainstream, right? And how fast PCs hit the mainstream when they did, how fast smartphones hit the mainstream when they did. They ramped up. There was a ramp up that was going on behind the scenes where certain individuals had these devices, cell phones too. Like, I remember my dad, he owned a business, so he had one of the original cell phones in his car, and it was so cool. I remember thinking how cool that was. He had this phone in his car, right? Cellular phone in your car, and it was this big bulky thing that rested on a charger. And he could pull it. He had a phone in his car. He was one of the few people that had phones in his cars. And same with PCs. We had a PC, IBM PC in the house for his business, and he was using it for business, right? And before other people had computers in their homes. And it was just like, these things come out, and then all of a sudden they're everywhere. They become affordable. Some company comes up with a way to make them affordable, right? Well, I'm saying in the future with our next revolution coming, AI is going to push the robotics revolution right to the roof. Like it's going to accelerate it, like you wouldn't believe. And I'm saying, like, within a generation, which is 15 years, we aren't going to need that many people here to do manual labor. And this is one of the reasons. This is one of the things I use as kind of proof of that. Is this brand new technology that's already out there, and will just get better as time goes on. And then you add a robot to this other robot, right? An upright walking anatomically correct humanoid robot droid looking thing, right? And you got your little R2D2 lawnmower right here. And you, guess what? You're not going to need to have people coming over here to do the work that Americans will do, or fill the jobs because we don't have enough kids, whatever. No, we're going to have robots everywhere, and it's already happening. There's like the Waymo taxis that are driving around right now, autonomous vehicles that are driving people around in taxi cabs right now. It might not be in your city, but it's coming. And they're out there. I'm going to show you some more of that on Winning Saturday Night this weekend. Cool videos. But here's something that I found that I think goes with the idea that we don't need millions and millions and millions of people pouring across the border because of jobs.
This isn't a tank or a remote-controlled toy. It's a robot. Actually, a transformer robot. Tracks are there because in summer it's a lawnmower, in winter it's a snowblower, and in the fall it's a leaf blower.
Look at that.
Something you won't find anywhere else. And this isn't 3 separate machines, but one robot with interchangeable modules. It does.
I mean, who wants this? Who wants this right now? I want this right now. I want this right now. Yeah. Just doing my job is no excuse, Heidi. You're right. I say there are good beat cops in New York State that are arresting those, but the AG and others are releasing these people. Yeah, corruption in the system, right? They're corrupt people. And as J. Michael Waller is saying in his book, in that interview, the trailer on Rumble that I always play, subversion in the education system. Part of solution culture is to take the subversion out of education and put in things that resist subversion, like the trivia. All right. Yeah, here we go. More of this.
All of this fully automatically thanks to AI and a bunch of cameras and sensors. If you're away, the robot can patrol your yard, ensuring everything's fine at home with a separate camera module for this. If AI doesn't take over the world...
So yeah, the lawnmower can literally patrol the grounds. And not only that, think about this application right here. I mean, I'm always thinking about how to apply things and how to innovate them, right? Not only do you have this robot with a camera on it that can patrol your yard and cut it and keep probably going to be edging it pretty soon, trimming out, getting rid of the kudzu. Man, that'd be great. But also, if you have pets, right, and you want to keep coyotes out of your yard, this thing would be awesome to keep coyotes out of the yard, wouldn't it? Or, anything like that. Just speed it up a little bit and turn it on. It could have coyote detection. AI can do that, right? That's a coyote. Go get it. And it just turns on an alarm, loud noises that scare them off, right? You can literally start protecting your pets with these things.
It'll definitely free us from household chores, and the Yarbo is leading the charge for outdoor tasks. This robot is powerful enough to tow a loaded trailer, a car, and even a boat weighing over 4,000 pounds. So those rubber tracks aren't just for looks. They help tackle rough terrain and work in any season. I had the chance to test this robot with the manufacturer, and I'll show you what it can do. Let's focus on the main body first.
I mean, dude, if you want to have a YouTube channel, get a Yarbo, right? And just broadcast, stream the Yarbo at work during the day. What's my Yarbo up to today? And just have a 24/7 Yarbo channel, man. I mean, you probably people would sit there and watch it. I'm guaranteeing you they would.
This is sort of the brain of the mower. It's robust, stuffed with the latest tech like the navigation satellite sensors, cameras, and so on. I'll show the details a bit later. Not only is it capable of maintaining your lawn any time of year, but also any time of day. Yep, you probably didn't know, but a lot of lawn mowers can't actually mow at night. You can also see the antennas here.
I mean, it works just like the little vacuum cleaners. I got a vacuum cleaner and a mop, right? I don't use them as much anymore, but they both work. They'll go around. You got to clean them out so often that it's you have to kind of watch them when you do it. I need to get one that has where it backs up and empties its own container because they're so small they can't hold that much, right? And the mop that I got was supposed to be super awesome, and it's just okay. It's just okay. So they're still working on perfecting those things and doing better. I think maybe just having a robot with a vacuum cleaner that walks around and just vacuums with a normal vacuum cleaner is the way to go. But we'll see.
Find it kind of fancy that the mower
Same
uses
thing,
a track system.
LiDAR technology. And then just back and forth. And you have a little map on your phone. You can tell it where to go, where not to go.
To move as if it's a mini tank. Since it's summer, we tested it as a lawnmower. The front attachment has 2 cutting discs. The rubber tracks don't damage the lawn, and the smart system plans its route specifically to avoid going over the same spot twice, preventing lawn damage. The robot's controlled via an app. First, we map the yard manually or automatically with AI assistance. It can map the perimeter just like a robot vacuum. If the yard includes both front and back yards, it'll move between them on its own. You can also set the desired lawn height from 1.2 to 4 inches in the app. Since this lawn hadn't been mowed for a while, we set the robot to cut just a little grass at a time. This way, these small clippings act as fertilizer for the lawn. Cutting too much at once would harm the lawn. I also want to mention how well the mower performs near sidewalks and driveways, creating a tidy lawn border. Take a look.
Nice.
It tries to stay as close to the edge as possible. You can set the robot to mow a little every day at a set time until the grass is the right height. The lawnmower adjusts to all bumps and dips, so we had no issues with uneven surfaces. There were some serious bumps in the yard, but the mower handled them. The robot also works on slopes up to 35 degrees. All thanks to the track system on the main body and to the caster wheels and the tension spring in the module. It handles obstacles well too. The robot has many cameras and sensors, giving it a 360-degree view. The main front binocular camera sees what's ahead and won't argue with a dog over who's boss. If it encounters an obstacle, it carefully goes around it and continues.
Dude, that's the kind of stuff that could be improved. I'm sure there's still a lot of work to be done on these, but I'm just saying, like, you know, why hire a bunch of people to come to work for you that may or may not show up, that may, you know, you never know. You don't know where they're from. Maybe there's, you know, maybe they're not legals or whatever. Why hire them? And if you're going to have a lawn cutting service, right? You can literally get a couple of these and just drop them off. Like after you map the yard off, just drop them off, come back, check on them, do the fine tuning that they can't do yet. And as the technology evolves, right, you could add to it, right? Something that's going to bump the ball out of the way so it can mow through it. Something that's going to, you know, do the edging and all that other stuff, you know, that goes through and after it's done mowing, blows off the, you know, the thing. But right now you could have this doing all the mowing stuff while you're doing the rest. You could do double the work.
Cameras help it see what's happening around it and make turns easily. If you needed to avoid certain areas like flower beds, you can set no-go zones in the app. With GPS and an RTK antenna, it navigates with centimeter accuracy. Even if the signal weakens under trees, it won't stop. The robot relies on stereo vision and ODM systems for navigation when the signal is weak. Yarbo is suitable for large areas and can handle up to 6 acres of lawn. The battery lasts up to 3.5 hours before needing to recharge. Once recharged, it resumes work if it hasn't finished. If it starts raining during a job, the robot returns to the base to recharge and waits for the rain to stop before continuing. The robot works very quietly, so it can mow at night without disturbing anyone. Despite its tough appearance, it won't make a racket. When it gets dark, it turns on its headlights and can mow without any interruptions from kids or dogs. As mentioned, Yarbo has several interchangeable modules. Although we couldn't test the snowblower since it's summer, I tested the leaf blower. Switching modules takes just a few minutes, and the robot is ready to blow away everything in its path. It blows very strongly and easily cleared all the long grass clippings at speeds up to 190 miles per hour. This can also be useful in summer if you have long grass clippings that can harm the lawn. It can work up to 70 minutes on one charge, which is impressive for its power. There's also a smart cover module that acts as a patrol for your yard, driving around your house and showing all potential intruders in the app. With this attachment, the robot can also tow a heavy trailer. It can follow you around independently, hauling firewood, fertilizer, whatever you need. As for the snowblower, well, it's obvious I didn't have a chance to test it out, but the manufacturer claims it can throw snow anywhere from 6 to 40 feet away, handle dry, wet, and packed snow, and cover 6,000 square feet of land on a single 3-hour charge. The distance that the snow is thrown and the direction of the snowshoot are also adjustable. Yarbo has created a truly unique product with no equal, covering several ongoing tasks throughout the year that would otherwise take a lot of your time or money. Considering the yearly cost of lawn mowing alone, the robot could potentially pay for itself within the first year. It's time to hand over routine tasks to robots. Check the link in the description to see the current price of the robot and get an additional $300 discount with the code UFACTTech.
I mean, we all want one. I know that Yarbo, shut up and eat the grass, you stupid goat. Yeah, right. There you go. I mean, you know, there's probably gonna miss some stuff here and there. You know, I mean, like vacuums can do. You know, there's things that need to be improved, but with AI, it'll constantly be improving. So, I mean, and the more people buy these, the more the price will go down. And, you know, so like I said, you know, the need for manual labor is going to decrease over a generation. Like you wouldn't believe. We don't need all these people here. That's a bullshit line. And what's going to happen is that they're going to end up out of work and on the welfare system, or out of work and in crime, or they're going to be like, you stupid Americans lied to us. Now we hate you. Now we're, you know, it's, you know, it could be, they could, you know, put some subversion on them, get the establishment in there to rile them up to become, you know, use their little division games and talk about how the white man did them bad and all this sort of stuff. And then you got a civil war in your hands, like a real hot civil war full of people who are ready to fight you over it and don't give a shit about the country. So again, why we need to like really take the border crisis seriously, and why everybody needs to be here tomorrow night to watch Line in the Sand with me, because I'm going to break the paywall, because it's too important not to be seen. And we're going to be on 3 platforms: Rumble, X, and YouTube. Haven't heard. What's up? Haven't heard. I want a really big one that I can drive to work and mow down traffic all the way. Yeah, dude, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I hear you on that. They're just going to get better, and you have drone assistance. I mean, I could see one of these things have a little buddy drone with it, you know, that could go along and probably just clean up all the edges it missed and stuff. the future is bright. That's why we want to save our country. We want to have this bright future full of cool stuff like we've always dreamed of our entire lives. You know, we don't want a dystopian nightmare scenario with everything falling down around us like they do, like these corrupt establishment wants us to have, because they want to be able to control us and keep us from having this bright, beautiful future. And of course, in the end, rebuild it in the name of, you know, in the architecture of the WEF's stakeholder capitalism, where you wouldn't be able to own a Yarborough, but you could rent it from the government. You could rent it. You could rent it from some company. They would give you a lease on it, and you have to pay monthly for it for the rest of your life to have a Yarborough. No, you should be able to own it. You should be able to own your own property. And yeah, another thing we need to resist is Agenda 2030, which is the monster at the gate with its tentacles already reaching through the bars. That will be our next stop here on the great adventure called saving our country after this 2024 election, and we get through that. So anyways, I just want to show you guys that. Give me 1 second here. And I hope you enjoyed seeing what the future is. I'm going to have more videos like this. Future tech stuff in our cool video section on Winning Saturday Night, which I've just made the theme song for. Now I got to make a video for the intro, and then we'll have a new segment. And I will bring you cool stuff like this. I've been looking at the different types of robots that are out there, the autonomous vehicles, anything that people are trying to dream up right now. And not only is it cool to watch these things and kind of like, you know, dream about a future that has all this stuff in it, but it's also smart to watch them, because you never know which one of these companies is going to be the next Apple, right? The next Microsoft, the next, you know, Tesla, whatever, that you can invest in early and then reap the benefits in a matter of a decade. You know, I was thinking about this earlier. Get in early on some of these things, right? That's going to take off. That has the right formula for success and the right leadership for success. And then, you know, like I have a friend who got in on Apple very early and still is able to pull from those stocks that he bought way early to supplement his handyman, you know, work. He's a handyman and just made a good call early on, and basically really talented handyman, really talented craftsman. But he can pull back those Apple stocks whenever he needs to and cash them in case he needs like a new car, or he needs, you know, it's winter time, he's not getting a lot of work, he needs to make a house payment, anything like that. He can go grab, you know, he has a lot, so go grab some of that Apple stock and cash it in and make some money and use it to take care of himself and his family. So it's really smart stuff. I got another friend who got into Bitcoin really early. He comes by here every now and then, but he got into Bitcoin really early, and he still works. You know, he's not sitting on his butt doing nothing, but he can always cash some of that Bitcoin in if he needs to in an emergency. And it's just making money for him every day. So it's about staying on top of the future, what's coming at us, and then also knowing, you know, hey, you know, if you have the money and you see something that works and you do the research on it, you can make an investment. You may be the next person who makes a ton of money getting in early on a giant company like we all wish we could do. Oh man. All right, let's see. If they can make the technology cheaper, then we could replace a lot of jobs right now. Yeah, it's coming, man. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep finding examples of it. I'm gonna go into a look at the what's going on with like agriculture, like agricultural robotics, right? And what they're working on. I'm going to find examples of why we don't need to have this type of mass immigration. We need to have diligent, slow walking immigration. We need to close the borders up. We need to fix the issue that's going on with this. And it's going to be, I'm going to talk a lot about this tomorrow night, so I'm going to save it. But it's going to be highlighted in this documentary. It's a must-see documentary. It's brand new by James O'Keefe. I just think that it's ridiculous as behind a paywall. So I'm gonna take the hit. I'm gonna put it out there. They can hate me if they want to, but I mean, you know, Sound of Freedom is gonna blow this documentary out of the water because of the model that it adopted. It put it out there and said you can donate, right? It put it out there for everybody, and it did so well. Like and this one just, I don't know, man. I hesitate to say that it's a very greedy approach. I don't think that O'Keefe necessarily is in on that as much as Tucker Carlson is, but I don't know if they're just being ignorant or what. I get it. I get the fact that they put money into this. I get the fact that they took the risk. I'm not ignoring that, but I'm just saying that they did such a good job with this that a person sitting on their ass right now watching CNN who thinks the border crisis is just about helping poor people live the American dream and believes all the lies that they're hearing on the establishment media would watch this and wake up in like an hour and 41 minutes and be like, holy shit, they've been lying. Because it's not a political documentary. It's literally, it's an is what it is documentary with, you're on there, you know that it's not being faked. You know that this stuff's real. And there's no denying it. It's that good. So I want you guys here to watch it together with me. And I also want you to be able to bring more people to watch it. So this is an inspirational thing that we're doing. And it's also a defiant thing that we're doing because I just, I'm sorry. I'm Tucker can come try to kick my ass if he thinks he can do it. But, I don't dislike him, and I'm not trying to turn people against him. I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from purchasing a membership on his channel. I think you should. It's only $6 a month. And he has great content on there. I love his content on there. I'm a member. That's how I have access to this. But I'm going to share that access with you guys because I think it's that important. And I think it's short-sighted on his part to not release this full on. And maybe, just maybe, doing this will maybe make him, I'm dreaming right now, but maybe it will inspire him. Maybe he'll get word of it and say, you know what? I really should have just released that. It is that important. And I don't, I've got plenty of money. I don't need to worry about this. I can write this one off, and then people would be more inclined to go subscribe to his network and see all the other great content that he has behind his paywall. So take it or leave it. That's where I'm at with it. That's what I feel like. There is machines for orchards that can shake trees and replace pickers. A lot of examples out there. Yes, Memento, definitely. And I'm going to find this for you and add them to the collective here. And we'll look at it each and every week. Thank you to all the new people that are following me out on X. We're almost to 1,000 followers on X now, almost to 1,000 followers. And as I speak to you, more and more people are tuning in. And I hope that translates to more and more people watching the show on X, right? Watching the show. Because I do 5 streams a week. I do a lot of base content. I do a lot of different kind of content. Like tonight, which is an audiobook night, but it's called Unrig the Game because we listen to books that help us understand how the game was rigged so that we can then put in solutions that remove the enablement for corruption and remove the enablement for these rigged game people, right? And part of that thing is, subversion. And this one talks a lot about subversion and talks a lot about other stuff like that. So I hope if you're out there on X or anywhere else, you'll repost this, spread it, tell more people about it, because we're getting ready to jump and go to Rumble and X exclusively as the kickoff show winds up, right? And we're going to go to that exclusively. And I just got to do one more thing here. Two more things. And we'll be going on over there. Yeah, we do the kickoff show here on YouTube so that we can gather people up that are on YouTube and maybe bring some more people in. Oh, you guys, I almost forgot. I knew what I need to do is I need to make sure that I put the links in the description and in the chat. That's the next part, isn't it? Let's go. All right. So they are now in the description saved, and they're coming to be in the chat right now. Where's everybody going? Okay, see you on Rumble. Good. Thank you, Heidi. We'll see you there. All right. We go about an hour, and then we just jump off of YouTube and pin it. Bing. Okay, there we go. There we go. So now you can follow us over to X and to Rumble, and or Rumble to watch along, listen along as we go through Michael J. Waller's awesome book, Big Intel. I'm telling you, man, if you're interested in how mind control works and how our deep state got corrupted and what we need to do to fix it, you need to read this book with us. It's gonna give you the background and understanding of how this system of cultural Marxism has worked and infiltrated our country. You'll be smarter than most people out there just flapping their gums thinking they got it figured out. I promise you that. And then you can be part of the solution as well. So one more to go, and we are out of here. Final thoughts. Thank you for being here. I've promoted the show tomorrow night enough. And by the way, Okay, one more thing before we go. One more thing. And by the way, this stream will redirect to the show for tomorrow night. So make sure you RSVP. Hit the notify me. Hit the thumbs up. Let me know that you saw it. And let me know that you're going to be there. All right. One more thing we got to do.
Oh my!
Talking Trash and Juice, thank you for the $5 super chat. It's blank, but I think you just wanted to see the thank you video, right? Hey Zach, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? Oh, Heidi's already over there. She's already over there. Links are in the descriptions. She's already over there. Heidi loves this book. Heidi loves the book. She's there adding so much context to it every week. We all are enjoying this book. You should give it a try, Zach. You should give it a try. You probably would like it, man. It's really good. But you know what? We got to go. But Zach, I want you here tomorrow night. I want you here tomorrow night to watch The Line in the Sand with us. I'm breaking the paywall because it's that important that we see this movie before the elections. And I think that if you're as passionate about saving the country as we are here, that you will find this documentary not only educational, but you'll feel like you want to share it with other people. And that's why I'm doing it. And more about that tomorrow night. But I hope you'll be here and come over and hang out with us tomorrow night. Just tomorrow night. I know you go to other channels and do other things, but tomorrow night's really special. It's really important. And I hope you will join us. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the kickoff show. Oh, thanks, Zach. I appreciate that, man. And this is going to redirect to that stream for tomorrow night, so you can hit the notify me if you want. Owning not yet. Zach derailed me. How did he do that? Well, we got to go. It's 1 hour. We got to go. We got to get out of here. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here for the kickoff show. I'll see you over on Rumble and X. And until that time, which is going to be right immediately, until tomorrow, YouTube. Later.
Man, everyone's tensed up for a Rumble.